Sean Payton joining us here on the show. Sean, good morning.
Damon, good morning. I appreciate you having me on, and you're absolutely right. Pulling up, getting in yesterday and going by the stadium, it's like you break out in hives because we were just here in the divisional round. And you recognize how challenging it is to get to this game, and you're certainly jealous and envious, of the opportunity these two teams have. But we got a good young team. It's exciting. It's exciting knowing how many young players played for us and how many players are coming back. So we're looking forward to the next challenge.
We had one of your guys, Marshawn Lattimore, on the show yesterday. Good guy, confident, knows that rookie class that just came through is really talented and good. We talked about Marcus Williams. How's he doing?
I think he's doing fantastic. And I've said this 2 other times now. He's played so well for us. Even in that game, the interception he makes, really it's a game where the first half they controlled the momentum. In the second half, we controlled it. And he had a lot to do with that. He had a real good rookie year. And he's so strong, not only physically as a player, talented-wise, but mentally. His career is all ahead of him, and I know his teammates, his coaches, all of us feel the same way. Too many good things he accomplished in his rookie year.
One thing that I've always respected about you is that you are not afraid to go against conventional wisdom. A lot of NFL coaches and coaches in general go by a certain book because it's just easier to explain if it doesn't work. And there's, I think, a fear of losing your job or criticism, whatever that is. Why do you not fear going against the convention?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's always that. The question would be, well, when is it unconventional? In other words, this topic at times, fourth down or a third and short play.
Onside kick in the Super Bowl.
That would go against – right. So it's measured and it's thought out. Look, I watched last night that 30 for 30 on the two Bills, and Parcells, part of it's learned, having coached with Parcells and knowing, hey, back in the Super Bowl against the Colts, you got to find a way to steal a possession. If you just go with the conventional thinking and try to shorten the game, Manning's too good. He thought that way, and it was a little outside the box, and I think it's just too easy to go the other direction. Now it's a lot easier when you have job security, and it's a lot easier when you make enough money and you're but I think that it's this let's go win a game. And even in the Minnesota game, we were third and a half a yard, and we knew we'd get a certain look that was hard to get against Minnesota, a man look, predominantly man look, and we threw a double pass to Snead. He turns and throws it to Kamara, and he just misses him a little bit, but Alvin's wide open. We have a chance to really, for an explosive play. And I think also it's important the players see that. I think there's something that's contagious with confidence, and sometimes just the idea that message to your team, hey, we're doing this. It's not a matter of whether we are or not. It's just a question of when, and then that kind of can permeate through your team.
Sean Payton is our guest here on the show. I mean, in that game, you guys are leading late, and you're jawing with fans, and after the game, you didn't shy from that. Now, I don't think there's another coach in the league that during that moment is willing to engage with the fans.
Well, we didn't. There was a couple. It was just a small group. All right. And sometimes, you're at a good football venue when you can see the eye color of certain fans. You're at a good venue.
They're close, yeah.
Yeah, because back in the day when we played in these multi-purpose stadiums, you looked at, you were at shortstop and you were looking into the sidelines. You couldn't even see. It was just it was a blank opponent, faceless opponent. But when they have faces and they have lips and you can read those lips, sometimes it's just there's the competitive nature in you that you just you can't help yourself. But it's a great sports city. We were pulling for them. And you're right at that point in the game where there's nothing better in our league than really going on the road and winning, because what going on the road forces you to do is really walk arm in arm, and you recognize there's only the 53, the coaching staff, the practice squad. There's 75 people here. Everyone else is rooting against you, and that's what makes it, so enjoyable when you're able to get a road win, especially a road playoff win. And so that one, man, that's tough to get over.
You coached under Parcells. You obviously know the coaching tree really well. You watched the 30 for 30 last night. What did you learn from that film that you didn't even know, if anything, having known him so much?
I think so much in the beginning, of the two of them arriving in New York, and Bill being at Air Force, and then even some of the nuances within the framework of the staff. I found it very interesting. I can remember when Bill hired me, Parcells, we didn't really discuss like what the title was going to be. You're coming to be, look, you're going to be assistant head coach, or you'll do this. You were just coming to work as an assistant, and you were comfortable with that. In other words, he'll figure that out, and I can recall in one discussion, he said, well, how much you want to get paid and how many years you want in your contract? And it was in such a manner that it was like you and I asking, what do you want in your coffee? And so when the discussion ended, you thought, did I think long and hard about that answer? And he just viewed it as, let's go. And this was all, when he hired me.
So it's collect talented men, collect talented people, figure out the details after that.
Yeah, and we'd never met. This was over 3 phone conversations. I'd never met him. The first time I met him, he said, meet me at Republic Airport in Long Island. He said, now it's going to cost you a little bit. That's an expensive cab. Because I was coming from Wayne, New Jersey. And so back then there was no Uber. And you get in a cab and you just keep looking at the monitor, and you're not even in New York yet.
And it doesn't take credit cards, so you got to have that cash on you.
You're scrambling. You're looking for ATMs and how much you have on you. And I remember pulling up at Republic. It was about a $160 cab ride, and getting out, and there was Bill. There was Jerry's plane, and Bill had his garment bags, and he had told me, he says, pack for 2 months. I said, all right. And so I had my
easier said than done, Bill.
Right? And the two of us got on the plane and flew to Dallas. True story. First time I ever met him.
Wow. So at least you didn't have to pay for the $160 back the other way.
Right?
On the cab.
Right.
And so you get that call, you get that knock, and then you're traveling with him. Are you pinching yourself at that point? Or are you just locked into the job?
No, we sat on the plane, and he took out napkins, and he began to just talk about football. And
that's when it becomes easy.
And as a young coach, you are taking it all in, and it's one of those flights that you want to last forever.
Yeah.
And it seems like on the 4th napkin we're landing in Dallas, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. But he's been great. He's been a tremendous influence on my career. We get to stay in touch, but it was very enlightening last night, and I almost felt like calling him, but I knew he was in bed, so I knew he didn't. He's a schedule, and I knew that it was too late. He was asleep, that I'd have to talk to him today about the show because I had some questions.
Yeah. What's your biggest question for him?
Just the transition to some of these teams and the jobs and then the games, actually. But he's got a very good memory. And the other thing when you watch that show, and never having worked with the other Bill Belichick, but knowing Bill Belichick pretty well, their personalities come across differently in a positive light, that it was really amazing what the two accomplished and now currently what Bill Belichick's accomplishing.
Yeah. Sean Payton joins us here on the show, Super Bowl champion head coach, and, talking about thinking outside the box, trying to find unconventional ways to win football games or to find information. You're working with Zebra Sports Solutions and Zebra Technologies, and this is really cool. It's information data gathering systems that's allowing coaches to get deeper analysis into personnel packages, formations, a lot of football stuff using that data. That's pretty amazing.
It's here. It's been here for 4 years now. Zebra's partnered with the NFL for the last 4 years. They're a decade-old company, so it's nothing new for them. They work currently with 95 of the top 100 Fortune 500 companies. Basically, wherever you see that little barcode right there, that's Zebra. And so what they do is track better than anyone in the world. And they're tracking player movement. So when we define a field, which we do for practice even, we can get a reading after practice and see, how our players perform. Not only that, the distance, workload. It helps us with injury prevention. And then from a league standpoint, it's the analysis of who's on the field, how often they're on the field. And when you see Leonard Fournette went 22 miles an hour, it's because of Zebra. And so it's really that edge. You go to a store and retail and you want to find out if the sweater's in your size. Immediately they can say yes, it's in aisle 3 or no, because they know and they've tracked it. So they do this as well as anyone, and they've been with the league now for 4 years. And I've been with Zebra now for 3.5 years, and it's been fantastic.
So listeners and viewers can go to zebra.com, find out some more information. On Twitter, you can find them at Zebra Technology, at Zebra Sports on Twitter as well.
Open their cabinet or their refrigerator. It's there.
Fascinating also the use of data now, the use of science now to do things that we used to do just on hunches, scouts, eyeball tests. Now we actually have the data to do so in football.
If someone tells me, hey, Coach, that was a tough practice, well, how tough?
Yeah, because I got it ranked 1 through 85 of the last 85 practices, and it was only 82. Sorry, bud.
Right. How tough, and then who was it tough on?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, was it tough on the receivers? Brandon Cooks a couple of years ago was clocking these 8-1s and 8-2s, distance traveled to practice, and that was more than the average for the group was 6.5 miles per practice. And I'm like, what is he doing? And Cooksey was overtraining a little bit. And so the linemen are the ones that are the offensive linemen. They get out to practice early, and they're the 2-mile group, right? I mean, mile 8, 2 miles. And what they'll do is they'll start like walking in circles. Just so they're not sitting by themselves.
Right.
But essentially it's organization, and it's the ability for us to track data and then apply it, and it's limitless. From our standpoint, we watch the Senior Bowl, and we're looking at players, and we're evaluating. Now, the quarterback's easy, but when you're trying to find the linebacker, is he in, is he not in? And all of a sudden, this tells you when he's in, where he's at, this will give you everything you want, because there's 2 chips in his shoulder pads.
Wow.
That just simply track.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Go online, zebra.com, on Twitter, Zebra Technology, or at Zebra Sports. Super Bowl champion head coach Sean Payton joining us on the show. This is great, Coach. Thanks so much, man.
Good stuff. It's great being on. Thank you.